What's the best prank you've ever pulled off? Mine was back when I lived in Colorado Springs. Stay tuned for the story. But first, howdy my peeps. If you're just tuning in for the first time, welcome to Mornings with Heather. That's me. And if you're coming back for more, thank you. I appreciate you. I really do. Please forgive the two-tone color here. I'm backed up into a corner. I just rearranged where my office is. I am now sharing space with the living room until I can get a studio together. So just be patient with me. Anyways, so a couple of friends of mine and I on Halloween decided we were gonna go to a haunted farm. Mind you, I was like 18 at the time. It was me, a guy named Jay, and we so like a group of 4 of us went to this haunted farm. The story behind the haunted farm was that the man killed his family and then killed the horses and animals and then hung himself from the rafter on the outside of the barn. That's who was occupying this space. So we decided we were gonna go. It was just at dusk and we were hunched down in the bushes and a truck drove by, and I'm not even kidding you guys. Nobody was driving it. At least it didn't look like anyone was driving it. And as it drove by, it was right in front of us. So the fact that we didn't see a silhouette of anyone driving this truck made us feel like it was being driven by a ghost. I went inside of the barn after that truck left and just felt kind of weird. And there was just a whole lot of... You know how you could just feel the space? Well, this place just felt off. It felt wrong. It felt evil. And so after I started feeling weird, we decided we were gonna leave. We left, and then a friend of mine named G that same evening went trick-or-treating with a group of her friends, and when she came back with a stray stranger. At least to us. He was a stranger to us, so I say she picked up a stray. Em and I went to go get some smokes for Em's boyfriend. And at that point, on our way to the store, I was like, we need to prank G. So she went inside, she grabbed her smokes, and she came back out. And then we went and stopped near the house to prepare for this prank. And I squirt some fake blood in my mouth, and then we drove up to the house. And basically, Em drives up in a hurry. She screeches her tires. And then, at this point, I'm acting like I'm passed out in the passenger seat, still buckled in, drooling blood on myself. She runs inside, she says, "Gee, something's wrong with Heather. You need to come take a look." So G and our stray stranger decide to come out, and they're looking at me, and Em makes it, a point to tell G that, hey, no matter what, we can't call the ambulance because Heather can't afford it. So they're sitting there, and I'm passed out. I'm just pretending. And basically, G reaches over me, unbuckles me, and they formulate this plan. All the while, this stray stranger is slapping me in the face, telling me to come away from the light. "Sweetie, come away from the light. It's not worth it. Come away from the light. Come on." And I'm just, it's really hard at this point for me not to start laughing, but I'm holding it in. And all the while, Em is like, she's having the hardest time keeping a straight face. But she proceeds to tell them, we drove past the haunted farm, and Heather just started shaking all of a sudden. And I was like, "Are you okay?" And she said she was fine. But then I went inside and I came out and she was passed out. So I got home as fast as I could. And G believes this. They formulate a plan. The stray stranger is on my torso and G is on my feet. They go to pick me up out of the car, and as soon as my weight hit the stray stranger's lack of muscles, he drops me, and I'm very committed to this prank, so I just let my head fall, and I bounce it off of the concrete, And mind you, it was really hard to keep a straight face at this point because, I mean, come on, my head just bounced off the concrete. But I have a hard head, so it's fine. Anyways, they get me inside, they get me up onto a chair, and they're like, the stray stranger is still slapping my face and telling me to come away from the light. And then at one point, G goes and gets a wet washcloth and comes up and starts, wetting my face. And then I pretend to come to, I'm sitting here all passed out, and then I pretend to... Oh, my head! What the hell happened? And, so G was like, well, what went down? What happened? Like, why, how are you feeling? What's going on? And so I told her, I said, well, earlier in the evening, we went to this haunted farm. I went inside and passed out, and then they dragged me out of the haunted barn and brought me home, and that's the reason why M wanted me to go with her, so that she could keep an eye on me. Well, when we went to go get the cigarettes, as soon as we drove past that haunted barn, I started shaking and feeling really weird again. I was fine until M went inside the store. And then when she came out, I remember sitting there waiting, and then nothing. And M's like, well, yeah, but when I came out, you were shaking, and you had blood dripping down your face. So we're feeding off of each other, M and I. And after we told G the whole story, we look at each other and I'm like, are we missing anything? And M's like, I don't think so. And I was like, wait, this was all a prank, right? And M's like, oh yeah, that's right, it was. And G, she's like, she's a little upset, but at the same time, she can appreciate a good prank. She's like, you guys got me. That was a good one. And that, my friends, is the story of the time M and I pranked G to the point where she was pretty scared. It was pretty funny, and it was the most committed I've ever been to any kind of prank. So that's really all I have for you on this video, but if you found this to be entertaining, maybe try your luck with this video right here. Until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, and most of all, stay blessed, my friends.